To the land of long live play where greatness is always waiting. Welcome to the PlayStation Experience. It is I, as always, your boy Denton, your dev, and I'm joined by my main man down in Florida, Mr. Delvin Cox. How goes it, brother?
You're welcome, everybody. I resurrected Dev from the grave so you can come back here and do the podcast. You're welcome.
I'm back, baby!
Rolls up like the Undertaker in the casket.
Another wrestling reference I don't understand. At least I got your Hulk Hogan tweet earlier this week.
Yeah. You never seen the gif of the Undertaker rising up out the coffin?
No.
I'm quite sure if you see it, you'll recognize it immediately. Like, oh, I've seen that before.
Right? I feel like that is like a staple of pop culture. Like, it's seen so much.
Yeah. It's one of those gifs that everybody use, like waking up for the weekend. You see the Undertaker rise up out the casket and stuff like that.
For audio only users, I have my hands up in a position.
Yeah. It's quite common.
Yeah. Also joining us, as always, is the Secretary of the Spoil, the Platinum Princess herself, Miss Haley Nicole Miller. How are you this week?
I've been awake since 5 a.m. Don't ask why.
You are just like allergic to sleep. It's sad, unfortunately.
I love sleep. It just doesn't love me.
Have you ever had like any sleep studies done or anything like that?
No, I want to get one done, but they're not really doing any around here until after, like everything, opens back up fully. Which, by the way, fun story about that. So we just went into stage 2 like a couple weeks ago, and on Friday I could go to a movie theater finally. Woo!
I don't even know how the stages work. I feel like stuff has just been open whenever it feels like it at this point out here. It's ridiculous. It's so weird walking around and seeing people without masks. I feel really weird when I don't have one now. It's just I've become so accustomed to it.
They're still mandatorily required here, so.
Yeah, they're not required here at all. None of the stores have like signs to say wear a mask or anything, so it's just free.
I think my favorite response to that was people bringing back the clip of Boris Johnson essentially being compared to Lord Farquaad from Shrek with the quote of, "Some of you will die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make," after he announced that like all COVID-19 restrictions were going to be lifted.
Shenanigans. COVID. You guys see the Olympics are pretty much they're doing no
spectators.
No spectators. A state of emergency out there. I'm like, why wouldn't you just cancel the Olympics then? Like, wouldn't it just make more sense?
I don't understand. Actually, so I know that there's like at this point there's a fee for canceling it, but also like, why wouldn't you just pay the fee? Because like literally, well, I don't know, because they pushed them. But then, what, are they going to have 2 Olympics next year if they push this one? Because next year's the Summer Olympic. No, next year's the Winter Olympics.
I don't know why not.
Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, you'd think that if you're having the Olympics in a place that is currently in a state of emergency lockdown, you would just cancel.
You would think,
that,
right?
I would just feel like the smart thing to do, right? But no, the Olympics must go on, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Actually, on the Olympics, did you guys see the woman who got arrested for shooting a water gun at the Olympic flag? They were running through the streets with like the torch for like the torch bearing ceremony, and a woman was just shooting a water gun at the flag.
Wow. That's ridiculous. All right, let's just get into it. So, how was your week, Haley? Anything cool, new, fun happen?
Yeah. I missed 3 days of work because that vaccine shot number 2 hit hard. But let's see. I watched Black Widow, which fantastic. Florence Pugh is incredible, and I'm very glad that at this point, Dev, take your headset off for a second.
No, don't spoil anything.
No, it's not a spoiler about the movie. I just don't know if you know this information, and I don't want to spoil it for you. It's not a spoiler for the movie.
That's a spoiler.
All right,
That's
whatever.
the whole
At this
thing.
point, I'm very glad that she's supposed to come back for a TV series that's currently filming. So, um,
I don't even know who she is, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Don't
Um,
even say who it is.
I'm,
Don't
I'm
even
not.
explain. Just
I'm not gonna say anything. Let's see. This morning before we started recording, I just finished watching Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1,
Excellent.
which I picked up yesterday when I was out doing groceries. Um, I'm not really a fan of the animation style in that movie, but
Interesting.
it's very good. I posted in the Discord about this earlier, but Jensen Ackles definitely makes a good Batman / Bruce Wayne. Troy Baker's Joker is still essentially undetectable from being different than Mark Hamill's. Like, it's literally the exact same voice, and it was hard to tell until I saw the credits.
Yes.
Jack Quaid plays a character in this movie. For those who aren't aware, Jack Quaid was just recently cast as Superman for a DC animated show. But he also plays Huey on The Boys, and he's in some other things as well. He's pretty good in this movie as well. Interesting fact that I totally didn't realize until after the movie was over, but the actress that got to play Catwoman died last year.
That's the girl from Glee. That was a huge story.
Yeah, she was.
Violet
Yeah,
Rivera.
but I didn't realize that until after the movie was out. Let's see. Also, this week I finished Legacy, so I now have like literally no Vampire Diaries universe episodes until October. So interesting. I've now also a quarter of the way through season 3 of Blind Spot. So great series. Ashley Johnson is fantastic in that series as well. She still remains my favorite character. On the gaming front, I've pretty much only played Watch Dogs Legion Bloodlines. Aiden Pierce is a dickhead as always, so not really a fan of playing as that character again. I would much rather be playing as someone else. But it is nice to have a cohesive story that doesn't feel like it's piecemealed together and you're doing the same 3 missions over and over. So that's nice. I have Plague Tale installed, but just haven't started it yet. So
nice. What about you, Delvin? How's your week been? What you been playing?
I only played one game, but before I get to that, I'll tell you about my week a little bit. I went to AEW Dynamite, which is interesting. It's the first wrestling show in front of a live crowd since the pandemic, so it was jam packed there. And to clarify that, what I mean is, during the whole time of the pandemic, they were either doing what WWE was doing, where they was having the stupid screens that they call the Thunderdome all around. They were showing fans, or they would do what AEW was doing, where they would have the wrestlers sit in the crowd as fans, and they would just have it in the same place every week. That was in Jacksonville. So this is the first wrestling event that is from a major company that's outside of their home area and allowing all fans in. So it was a pretty cool experience. It was crowded. And they kind of like masked, maybe. So half people were wearing masks, half people wasn't wearing masks. Me being vaccinated, I was still masked up. Had a blast there. It was great. It lasted, I want to say 5 hours. And it was just great.
Dang. That's
After
a long time to be in a place.
From 7 to midnight, I want to say almost.
Wow.
And it was I had a blast doing it. It was so much fun. Great experience. Otherwise than that, I watched Black Widow. Thought it was interesting. I liked elements of it, didn't like some of it, but I think people should check it out, definitely. Only game I played this week, surprisingly, and this may surprise some people, I started getting back into Arkham Knight. And the reason being is because I wanted to play a Batman game. And Arkham Knight is the most modern Batman game, and it's still on my It's on my PS5 right now.
I still don't understand people's hate for that game. It was a good Batman game. The only problem I have with that game is the over-reliance on the Batmobile. And even in the main story, it's not over-reliance. But if you want to do all the side content, oh my god, do they rely on the Batmobile way too much for Riddler trophies and Riddler puzzles and just anything to do with the Riddler in that game, Batmobile.
And that's why I stopped playing it originally, because this is a small spoiler, but it's something that you need to know if you're going to play this game. To get the actual ending of the game, you have to collect all the Riddler trophies.
There are 368 of them in Arkham Knight, I believe. Let me double check that. But
it's something like that. Yes, that's correct.
To get the true ending, yeah, you have to. There's this thing called
Nightfall Protocol.
There you go. Thank you. I knew it was something in the protocol. I just couldn't remember the first word. And there's, I believe, like, you can start the protocol at 8, but to get the actual ending, you need all 11 side chain quests. Great, Google, for me opening it, and your first suggestion is Carmine Falcone. Well, that's on topic for Batman.
Yeah.
Just a sec.
But I gotten almost all the trophies except 80. And I got so frustrated and annoyed when I originally played. I'm like, I'm not doing this crap. This is too much to beat the game and stuff like that. I'm like, for that point, if you're going to get all those trophies, at that point, you might as well platinum the game.
Yeah.
Because, so I was like, okay. So I got back into it, I guess the other day, because I looked at my progress in it, and it's 99% complete. And also, I haven't did any of the DLC content. When I bought the game, I bought the collector's edition that came with the Batman statue and all that stuff.
So did I. I ended up having to sell it, though, when I needed money, which is sad. Also, fun fact, that statue that came with the game was a giant spoiler for the game. So, like, I have no idea why they did that. It was an incredibly giant spoiler for the end of the game, which is weird. But, so there are 243 Riddler trophies, but if you're counting, which you have to solve all the Riddler's puzzles and everything. If you're counting all of them, there's 368 total challenges related to the Riddler.
Yeah, and that's annoying. So I got back into it, and I forgot that a whole bunch of stuff came out like after that stuff, after the DLC. Like they now have the Batman from Arkham. Shit, what is the name? They got the Batman vs Superman Batmobile in there. They got the Batman vs Superman suit in there. They have the Dark Knight suit in there. They got the Dark Knight Batmobile in there. They have so much like cool content, and it looks fantastic on the PS5 and the good TV.
Here's my biggest gripe with that, though. You can't use any of the different Batmobile skins until after you've disabled literally anything that needs a weapon on the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Because the extra skins don't have weapons, so can't use them in story mode. They're only good for challenge modes that involve the Batmobile, which is...
Yeah. But it's still cool that they add that stuff in there, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to try to get all the trophies so I can get the true ending of the game, because if I'm this far, I might as well just do it. And plus, I don't have that much to play right now. I've already beaten Ghost of Tsushima. I gotten threatened by death. That I better get the PS5 version of the game in the DLC. So I now have no choice.
If you're gonna kill me, I'm gonna threaten you.
So just a question for you. Not that I'm dissing your attempt to go for, I guess, platinum, because if you're doing that, you're pretty much going to get them. Oh, no, you won't, actually, because you're not going to do the one thing I know both you and Dev would not do. But to be honest, in the Batman games, I wouldn't do it either.
Well, what's that before you go? What was that thing you think I won't do?
New Game Plus. It turns off. It literally turns off your combo counter and your any indication of when to block. Just off. It's
I
off.
don't know if that's required for platinum.
It is.
I don't remember it being. I think you got to do all the challenge rooms or something like that.
Hold on a sec. I have PSN profiles up. I know it's required because I considered going for the platinum myself originally. Just a sec. So again, Arkham Knight, great game. But some of the stuff they continue to do with that stuff just makes it a pain in the neck. Like it's the only game where the true ending is locked behind.
It's absurd, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, you do need to do 2 playthroughs. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd probably do a second playthrough of it. Honestly,
I
I
mean,
probably would.
you've
do it
come
again,
this
so.
far, right?
I mean,
Yeah, not only that, because right now I'm already at the end of the game, so that would just be me just experiencing a game I haven't experienced in over 5 years, all over again.
Six. Game came out in 2015. Actually, it came out June 23rd, 2015.
Yeah, so
So just turned 6. But again, that new playthrough you're required to do, it's a new game plus playthrough. So it turns off the when to counterattack notifications. Enemies start with like weapons. So like how in most of the Arkham games they won't start with assault rifles and stuff. Immediate from the start assault rifles, and you take more damage.
okay, I can do that. That's not too much
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, I think it's a great game. Still, it still plays good. It looks beautiful on a good TV. like it's amazing how it looks. It looks almost like a PS5 game.
My favorite piece of DLC for that game was a pre-order bonus. The Harley Quinn mission in that game is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's
I was
really good.
getting ready to say, is any of the DLC actual story stuff, or is it all just skins and?
No,
Why is there
there's
story stuff?
So there's a story DLC for Harley, Nightwing, Red Hood. Those are all like single room, well, not room, but single level missions. Then for Batgirl, there's a story expansion that takes place before the events of Arkham Asylum.
Yes, and then there's also the DLC. I think it's called the Season of Villains, where they added like 4 more villains to the game.
Yes, but you did not have to take those villains down to get the Nightfall Protocol.
Yes,
you still only need the 11 original villains in the game for Nightfall Protocol. But out of those 4 extra villains that were added, I like the Mr. Freeze content the best.
Yeah, it's Mr. Freeze. I want to say it's Man-Bat, Mad Hatter, and Ra's al Ghul.
No, Man-Bat was in the game originally.
Okay, so it's Ra's al Ghul and somebody else then. Is it Firefly was in the game. I can't remember the third person.
I can't remember the 4th person either, but I know it's Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul,
Mad Hatter.
Yes.
And it's someone else.
Yeah, I can't remember the.
Because I do have the premium edition of Arkham Knight. I just never played it.
Highly recommend.
I'll say try it.
It's very interesting going from Arkham City, which was like an open world like city Metroidvania, I would guess it would be described as style Batman game, to an extremely like detailed, fully realized Gotham City.
Yeah. It's really detailed. And it looks really good for a PS4 game that came out in 2015. It looks really, really good.
So I'm not going to spoil anything for the game, but there's one skin I thought they would do for that game after the ending that they never did, which always makes me mad.
I will say this. The Batman Beyond skin on there is trash.
It is. The Batman Beyond skin in Arkham City is fantastic, though, and also needed for like 6 of the Riddler challenges.
Yeah.
Like literally because, so in Arkham City, the cape, obviously in all of the Arkham games, your armor and whatnot gets damaged as you go through it. But in Arkham City, some of the challenges require you to dive straight down, and the cape gets in the way, so you can't see if you're going to land it. So you literally need the Batman Beyond skin because you don't have a cape; you just have wings.
Yes. But yeah, that's kind of been my week playing Batman. Pretty fun.
Interesting. I really love Batman Arkham Asylum. That one was awesome.
Play it. I guarantee play it. I think you'll like it.
He's already really played Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum. I loved that game.
About,
I loved it.
Arkham Knight. Play it. Definitely try it.
We'll see. That Batmobile really pissed me off.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So as much as people dog on it, it's not used as much in the story as people say it is. There are definitive sections where like you have to use the Batmobile, but even then it's for like 5-10 minutes. So
I will say this: it's fun, especially when you used the DLC Batmobiles to drive around in the city in the Batmobile. Not as fun to do battle mode with the Batmobile. That
I
is
also
horrible.
I also think my favorite thing is they claim the Batmobile is non-lethal, but you're literally firing shock rounds out of a 50 caliber Gatling round, like
Yeah,
to like. There's
and, you,
no,
and then you hit
there's,
you hit people with the Batmobile, which is literally a tank.
But it's not lethal because comic books.
I mean, yes, but also like the when you fire that gun, there's a distinctive patunk sound. So like that firing sound and hitting someone with that cannon, there is absolutely no way you did not just shatter every bone their body. And as Delvin said, you can literally hit criminals with the Batmobile and they'll go flying and get shocked at the same time. And it's just like Batman doesn't kill people except when he does.
Yeah.
When it's convenient.
Right. All right. So my week or weeks or however, whatever, I've been gone for a while because Delvin killed me. But I'm back. So yeah, I was in Houston a couple of weeks ago. Just took a vacation. The wife really wanted to get out. We needed to get out of here. Went to go visit my just really close friends of our family who are also the godparents of our kids, were the godparents of her kids. I got to see my god kid. That was really nice. She's the sweetest little girl ever. She's one and just so cute. So just had a really nice time out in Houston. Got to spend some time with Mr. Chris McCracken from Married to the Games,
That's
and
awesome.
that was fun. We just kind of chopped it up for about 3 hours. Got to meet his wife. Stacy is also awesome. They're just good peoples, and that was a really really fun time. But other than that, just been doing the regular work life balance nonsense. My kids are finally started some sports. Put them both. We put them both in soccer, and so they had their first soccer games this week. It's weird because they do the practice before the games, so that's how sports go now, which is so odd to me. Like I'm used to, you have practice like once or twice in the week, and then you have your game on Saturday. But
Yeah.
now the way they do it is they have a 30-minute practice before the game. Like how, if this is your first time ever playing a sport, do you really think 30 minutes is enough time to learn before you play a game? It's just really weird, but
At least your
apparently that's the
kids
thing they do.
at least your kids, I'm assuming, didn't do what I did, which is what got me to actually start coaching soccer instead of playing soccer, which was I would stand there and pick flowers.
No, they did not do that. But they are not like super aggressive because they don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. So like my daughter was on defense she was playing fullback for the most time. But she with the ball came, she would get involved and play. And my son also, he would with the ball came his way, he would go after it, try to kick it or whatnot. But they're both just trying to figure it out. So it was just definitely a different experience. And I really wanted to put them in something indoor, but there was just nothing indoor available. Like I wanted to see if there was like a summer basketball league or something because like at 8 a.m. it's already 80 plus outside.
Yeah.
So by the time their games start, like it is sweltering. We were out there just it is so hot. We were dying. My wife was like, I can't do this. She was just it was just so hot and you're just sitting there in the sun baking. So my son, and what also sucked is because their games were like they weren't at the same time. There was like a big gap between the two games. So my son, by the time it was time for his game, he was like already ready to go home. So we're gonna have to probably do separate trips from now on. Like if his game is later, we're gonna have to just take him at his game time so he's not sitting there baking and already tired by the time his game starts. But it was fun to finally see them like in some actual sports and allow them to experience some of that joy. It definitely brought back some of that excitement for sports that I have not had in a very long time. Just being absent from really playing any sports or being involved in it, like I just kind of lost a lot of the desire for it. But being back on the field and seeing all the games and wanting to yell at the kids for not doing stuff like get back, what are you doing? Like it just like all came back and it made me like really want to get back involved with sports just because that competitive nature just kind of takes over. I'm just like, oh man, this could be bad.
That's pretty
I
cool.
may end up being one of those dads who is just yelling and up and down and all over the place, which may end up bringing me back to coaching or something. But we'll see. It was real nice to see them just be on the field and running around. So very happy with that. Gaming wise, I took my PlayStation with me when I went to Houston, but we only played a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. Me and a couple of my boys, we did the first part of the raid in Legends. And again, that game is just magnificent. It's fantastic. So playing that raid was a lot of fun. Just talking trash. I think we were up to like 3 a.m., which was 1 a.m. their time. Just trying to get through that first portion. We finished it. Um, and then we tried the second part. Did not quite get past that one. Like this following Thursday. And then outside of that, the only other thing I played, I started the Bloodlines as well. Breath of fresh air for that game because I could not get into Watch Dogs Legions just because random characters like
Yeah.
it feels like the story of what's going on in London and everything could be interesting, but it just feels so disconnected because you're just some random guy. Like if you'd have been able to play with the guy that they introduced the game with, like if he didn't die and you got to play as him, I think I'd be much more into the game.
Yeah.
But just the randomness and then having to find other people to do other things, I'm just like I just
See,
don't want to do that.
the thing with that too is that the voice acting quality differs between each of the random civilians. So like you could have someone who sounds really enthused about what they're doing, but then the next person you go to recruit could start talking like this. Hi, my name is yada yada, and I would like to join DedSec. Yada yada. Do this for me and I will join you.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, okay, you could not sound more enthused. Interesting fact, by the way, if you own the season pass for Watch Dogs Legion, and only if you own the season pass, you can now play as Wrench and Aiden in the original um, Watch Dogs Legion story. It's still the same. Hey, you're doing the same 3 recruitment missions over and over, but you can play as Aiden and Wrench now.
Okay,
And so
that's
you
actually
have to
sounds cool.
But you have to
yeah.
own the season pass to do it. If you just buy the Bloodlines expansion separately, you don't get to play as them in the main campaign.
Yeah, we own the season pass, me and my game share partner. So but yeah, that was a total breath of fresh air. I've liked Aiden. I've never had a problem with this character. I understood like why he was the way he was, and I was fine with it. So
I did
being able
too.
to play with him again was nice. It
Oh, I
felt like
mean,
Watch Dogs. And I'm excited to get into playing with Wrench and just seeing where this portion of the story goes. And I just wish they would have done more of that for Legion. But
yeah. So
I like the
I
world. I like it. It's enjoyable.
I don't have a problem with Aiden Pierce. It's just it feels weird going from playing as Aiden in Watch Dogs 1, then playing as Marcus, who's a much more lighthearted but also serious character in Watch Dogs 2, then going to playing all the random civilians, and then going straight back into like I'm Aiden Pierce and I sound gruff and rough and yada yada yada, and literally like he I'm not going to spoil anything for the DLC because it just came out and I also haven't played much. I think I've done one and a half main story missions, and then I've just been focusing on side missions because that's how you get upgrades in the Bloodlines DLC. Um, and then literally like he meets someone and gets the crap beat out of him, and he's like, well, why would you do this to me? And I'm just like, I mean, all right.
I, I
It
have
feels weird.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any reason? Because I haven't played 2, like I've told you guys before. I played a little bit, but I haven't gotten it. Is there any reason that Marcus couldn't have been in this game?
So he might be. That's the
Okay,
thing.
that's all I want to know.
So the thing is that Wrench and Aiden were DLC characters for Bloodlines that was announced, and when fans started asking about why characters from Watch Dogs 2 weren't, they're like they could be added as free content updates later. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know, because honestly, I don't know how much longer Ubisoft's going to support Legion because it kind of fell flat on its face.
I,
So,
I asked that because it seems like the general audience, more people like Marcus than they did Aiden. So it seemed like, why wouldn't you
yeah.
make Marcus the DLC character
I,
before you make Aiden.
I mean, that's the same thing with like, and this is 3 years out, so it's out of my mind, but it's a similar thing, right? Like, it's just like, why, like, people like the format of Assassin's Creed now. Why are you gonna go and turn it into a live service game? Like,
Yeah. Ubisoft gone Ubisoft.
yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming just the story they wanted to tell with Legion probably just fit better with Aiden than it did with Marcus. That's probably
Okay.
the only thing that I can think of. The way they're tying him into it. Also, there's a reason. So if you play it, you kind of get why they would do that. But I mean, I
yeah,
feel like if you're gonna do dead sex related stuff, there's no reason that you wouldn't bring Satara and Marcus and everybody else into the fold if you're really trying to revive DedSec and have them
yeah.
take in any part of this London sector of it. So who
My
knows?
my big question is, where's T-Bone? Like, where is he? Like, he's just conspicuously absent. Uh, Also, like, so anyone who's played Watch Dogs 1 will know that in the opening cutscene of Bloodlines, literally, like, Jordy is talking to Aiden on the phone, but you never see
Mhm.
him. So, like, where's Jordy? Why are we not seeing Jordy? Like, he's a fan favorite character from both Watch Dogs 1
Well,
and 2.
they said he's got travel restrictions, so that's why he couldn't. That's why Aiden's doing this,
Uh,
and
I
that's in the trailer. They're like travel
Yes.
restrictions.
No, I know. Yeah, it's the trailer that they showed was the opening cutscene, but also
Yeah,
like it's just weird because like he's a fan favorite character from Watch Dogs 1. He was reintroduced in Watch Dogs 2 via DLC, and he literally introduces himself as I'm the pizza guy, which is one of the most weird lines I've ever heard a character speak to another character in Watch Dogs. Which is saying a lot because Watch Dogs has some definitively weird lines. I'm looking
yeah.
at you, Wrench. Um, but I don't know. They've again said that like maybe Satara and Marcus can be added as free DLC characters. I know there's still 2 characters from the season pass that need to be added. The Assassin's
Mhm.
Creed tie-in character still needs to be added, and I forget who the other one is, but
Yeah.
it,
It
it,
feels like everything in this game is just delayed and it's just taking long. And by the time everything is said and done, it's probably gonna be just forgotten. To be perfectly honest.
also they spent development time on a zombie horde mode that nobody asked for, so like
Didn't even know that was a thing.
yeah, it's
I
called
didn't either.
Watch Dogs Legion. Uh Blood Hunt is not the right title. That's the Vampire the Masquerade's battle royale game, which completely defies the purpose of Vampire the Masquerade. But it's something Legion of the Dead, or I think it's called Watch Dogs Legion of the Dead. It's a PC only beta right now of a zombie horde mode,
I
and
mean,
it's
people love zombies. Why not?
I
I'm
mean.
not. This doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form.
No, but I mean, you still had season pass content to deliver, and you developed this instead.
No surprises. Trying to catch that, trying to get that money, trying to get that little. Okay, people love zombies. Let's create a
Al-
zombie mode real quick.
Also, in case that got picked up, we have a guest. Blue would like to say hello.
Hello.
Didn't even hear it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's been what's been up with me. What I've been playing in my week. I don't know what I'm gonna be playing after Watch Dogs.
Could go back to Mass Effect.
Yeah, I think the moment is past. I think it's past. I enjoy what I did. I don't know if I'll go back.
Arkham Knight.
Yeah. We'll
Oh,
see.
hey,
You know
Delvin, I
what? I
love
need to
Ark.
play Final Fantasy VII
I,
Integrate or
I,
whatever it is, the Yuffie stuff. I need
I
to play
like
that.
Arkham Knight as much as anyone, but you're asking Dev to invest time in a 30-hour Batman game.
That 30
Literally,
hours will fly by.
That's
Honestly.
not a problem. I don't mind the time. It's not a 100-hour Assassin's Creed game, so 30 hours is about my speed. I'm good with that. It's just a matter of going back to playing a Batman game that I didn't exactly love when I was playing it.
that's fair. That's fair.
Quite honestly, what I want to play is just more Ghost of Tsushima. That's what I want to play. Like
Hey, you got
that's what I have the itch for,
you
and
got
it's
41
not available yet.
days.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that, so it's sitting there. That and then Kina are
How
like what
how
I'm
do
really
you
looking forward to.
pre-order the Ghost Cut? Do you have to go on the web store because the only version that shows up on the actual console is the $89.99 version?
No, I went to the app and just pre-ordered the upgrade. You can't do it for PS5. I just pre-ordered the
No, I
PS4,
know, yeah.
and then
And
whenever the
then
$10 thing pops up, I'll do that as well.
see, while we're on that, that's my thing, right? So like, it's not. We'll talk about it later, but the Death Stranding upgrade for the director's cut is literally $10. That's it. That's all you're paying is $10.
Mm-hmm.
But for Ghost of Tsushima, you're paying 30.
Yeah, I don't see the problem. I think it's
Weird.
more content. Like it's more story. It's an entire island and more content for
There's
that.
there's new story being added to Death
I
Stranding.
understand that there's new story, but it's not like they've added an entire chunk of an island and story and all of that stuff. They've added some things, so I'm not surprised at the price difference.
Hello, Blue.
Throw my money at the screen. That's all there is to it. Here, give me my Ghost of Tsushima. Take all my money. All right, let's get into these questions.
Are you done? Because you're making a mess and you're making noise.
Catastrophe. So our first question comes from at ET Dragon, Miss Elaine from the Microsoft. What is our Microsoft? The Xbox. What the Xbox Empire?
Xbox Empire.
Why couldn't I think of the name of the podcast? It's so sad.
Hashtag Game Pass Podcast.
Game Pass Podcast. That's what it should be called. Just call it that. We're no more Empire, just Game Pass Podcast. Where for only $14.99, you can have access to hundreds of games. Yeah, so she asked, do you folks think it's worth checking out PlayStation Now at this point? I find myself actively considering it more and more lately, and I'm curious where you guys stand on it.
Am I the only person who use PlayStation Now here?
I've used it. I used it to Platinum Infamous 1 9 years after that game came out. Literally, if you look at my PSN profiles, it says it took me 8 years and 1 day to platinum that game. It was good, but some game here's my biggest takeaway. I would fully subscribe to PlayStation Now if I could download PlayStation 3 games and their DLC, because I would love to replay Fallout 3. Here's my problem with Fallout 3. I am not playing the version of Fallout 3 that after you beat the main story, you cannot continue to explore and do side content. You literally, that's it. Base game only, which, no.
Yeah.
I use it once or twice.
I will say this, because I'm probably the one who probably uses it the most out of us three. I say emphatically yes. One, because it's always on sale. So you're never going to pay full price for it. I've gotten 2 years now for like $80, if that, I want to say. It's always on sale. You get an expansive PS3 library. If you have great internet, that's a whole lineup of games you get to get, including games that are not on Xbox or Game Pass, like Siren, Blood Curse, and stuff like that. The random PS3 games that came out that we can't have access to, but they're on PS Now. It's a pretty good lineup of those games on there. Like I said, Siren, Blood Curse, the Alone in the Dark game that came out a while back that people panned is on there. That was like episodic. There's a whole bunch of random ass PS3 games on there that I like a lot that you can play and you can experience. And as long as you have good internet, play is pretty good. And I think it's pretty. And you get the PS4 games. And you get a good. As long as you catch it on a sale, you get your bang for your buck. I won't put it on par with Game Pass because Game Pass is a whole different thing. But this is a pretty good service, and they've kind of got most of the kinks out of it. So I highly recommend doing it, especially if it's on sale, because they have some crazy sales for PS Now on a regular basis, like every 3 months. So you probably never have to pay full price for this thing.
Yeah, it goes on sale all the time. My thing is that if you're only wanting to use it to play PS4 games that you don't necessarily want to buy but you want to play, go ahead, do it. But if you want to play anything that's on PS3 and whatnot, you better have the best internet connection in the world, because those PS3 games lag like heck.
Yeah, if you don't have good internet connection, you're gonna have a problem. But Elaine does have good internet connection, so
I know what Lane does, but I'm just speaking in general here.
Yes.
Yeah, my game share partner actually has it. And I kept seeing all of these like random games being downloaded. I was like, did you go on a shopping spree for buying a bunch of just like old random stuff? He's like, nah, man, it's the PS now. I was like, oh. So I asked him how the service was. He says, yeah, it's great. So he really enjoys it. He doesn't have the greatest internet, but he doesn't have any really bad lag with the PS3 games, all the PS4 stuff. And he is like that buffet gamer where he just kind of plays a little bit of everything. So I mean, if you're looking at it, I would say check out the lineup of games, and if there's games on there you think you want to try or play, go for it. Because like Delvin said, it's always on sale. You can usually get at least a month for pretty cheap. So yeah, I think if you're itching to get that and you see some games that you really think you want to play and dive into for a month or two or whatever, I say go for it. It's not a bad service. It's got a pretty good amount of games. They're always adding relatively new PlayStation games. In fact, I think Watch Dogs Legion is on there. For
Didn't it? Didn't they just add Red Dead and
they
Judgment?
they did add
Yes.
Red Dead because that was one of the games my game share partner downloaded. So like there's a good amount of games on there. So if you're thinking that it might be something you want to check out, I say go for it. It's got a good lineup. Doesn't quite compare to Game Pass, but it's no slouch. So yeah, definitely check that out. Our next question comes from Wheel Six. He says, "Why is Cyborg an afterthought, but Aquaman bum ass gets a movie?"
Well, I mean, if you'd like the actual answer, racism at WB Studios is why Cyborg does not have his own movie. But if you're talking why Aquaman got a movie before Cyborg, who knows? They're both good characters, but the problem is that people are only familiar with Aquaman as the laughing stock because most of the old Aquaman comics portrayed him as like a goofy character when he's actually pretty cool. So
That plays into it. And plus, I think people get their ideal of who Aquaman is off of the Super Friends.
yes,
That
that,
played a
that
big part into it.
which is a big part of where the meme of Aquaman being a goofy character came from, because
Yeah.
like literally half of the Aquaman memes are literally just taken straight from Super Friends. It's like, okay, but you're taking a deliberately comical version of the character. Like they're all comical in that show. In Super Friends, Batman's an idiot. Like,
Yeah. I think to answer this question, I think DC has a problem with, in terms of their movie universe and their television universe, but not as much as their television universe, making diverse characters like Cyborg work. Like they drop the ball so often on these type of characters. Like if you look at what Marvel's doing in terms of like, hey, Falcon went from kind of the sidekick of Captain America to now holding the shield, and people know, okay, this dude is Captain America now, emphatically, and people are like, okay, we're all on board on this because we've seen his trajectory. And then you look at the whole thing with Cyborg where they were like, okay, the suit, we first seen the suit, like, oh, it looks a little weird, doesn't look a little off. Then you start hearing the rumblings of he's going to be in Flashpoint, then he's not going to be in Flashpoint. Then you hear, I can't remember the guy,
Ray Fisher is fired for
yeah,
stonewalling the Joss Whedon investigation when it was emphatically proven that he was being incredibly helpful the entire time.
yeah.
So
Then you hear Ray Fisher's testimony on everything that went on with that character, how that character did not get the just due that it truly deserved. And then on top of that, when you actually see the Snyder cut and see
Hmm.
that version of Cyborg, like, oh shit, this could have been an
That was a
incredible
Cyborg
character.
movie.
Yeah,
yeah,
this could
literally
have
the
been.
Justice League movie was like meant to follow Cyborg as the lens, and Joss Whedon went in there and goes yada yada yada. Let's have the Flash super speed right into Wonder Woman's chest and just a bunch of stupid nonsense that didn't need to be in there. Also, like, it feels weird to be praising an Arrowverse show. Like, I love the Arrowverse, but emphatically, even I know it's usually bad at some characterization. But like, Superman and Lois is doing like some of the best diverse character stuff I've seen. Like, they're handling Steel incredibly well,
Black
which
Lightning.
is yes, but also that's another issue of DC giving Black Lightning the like push out the door. Like they literally like deliberately hit it in a time slot that's not like prime time, so that like it got canceled because no one was watching it, and it's
Yeah.
just like you're a CW show. You don't cancel anything unless like it gets literally like 0.3. And Black Lightning was pulling in great concurrent views because like
At a
so
terrible time slot.
yeah, so like the CW stuff, like Riverdale, The Flash, and Black Lightning, like The Flash doesn't air on a TV channel in Canada anymore. It just comes to Netflix every Thursday. So, but like they did the same thing with Black Lightning, and then for the last 2 seasons, no, you had to wait for the entire season to come out. So you just lost all Canada viewership. So like that's what they did to Black Lightning, which is bad. But now with Superman and Lois, which is mostly an HBO Max production, but like it airs on the CW, but then like the entire series stays up on HBO Max. They're handling like diverse character casting and stuff like that incredibly well, and it's just weird like the way it fluctuates. I don't know. This is a tough question because it's mostly studio meddling and also like racism, like extreme racism. And I'm sorry, but like it's literally when Ray Fisher has testimony stating that like he gave everything he was asked for, and literally Joss Whedon made him so uncomfortable on set that even other actors were like, "Yo, fuck off." And Joss Whedon continued to just like do it, and then he got fired from the Flash movie and like fired from his contract for being Cyborg. And it's like, wow, okay, so we know where WB stands.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's disappointing because Cyborg's a cool character, really cool.
Yeah,
character.
exactly.
And if you look at all the characters that DC's kind of brought up in the modern era, Cyborg is one of the main ones that people often talk about wanting to see on movies and TV shows. He's in everything. He's in what's the show
Doom
that they
Patrol.
have?
Doom
Patrol.
He's in Doom Patrol.
Main member of Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go.
I love him in Teen Titans Go.
He's in every like DC animated movie and played very well in those movies.
Yeah, also it's disappointing too because especially with like you brought up the Justice League and the Snyder Cut difference. In the Snyder Cut, he's an actual realized character, but literally his most memorable line from the theatrical cut of Justice League is "Booyah," which is an overplayed joke on his catchphrase.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I like the Cyborg character a lot. People think I don't like DC. It's quite the opposite. I think.
No, I love DC, but I won't hesitate
People
to
think
criticize.
you don't like DC? Who are these people?
A lot of people think I don't like DC for some reason because I love Marvel so much. I like all comic books. I read everything.
I was gonna say, how? What?
Yeah, I don't know. That would be like someone coming to me and going, "You don't like vampires?" I'm like, "Have you fucking met me?"
People think I don't like DC because I thought what it was, Batman vs Superman wasn't that great.
I mean, it wasn't. The only thing that made it watchable was the Ultimate Edition, but also most people aren't going to sit down and watch a 3-hour Superman movie. Yeah. And I don't know how they didn't learn their lesson from Superman Returns, which sucks because Brandon Routh was great as Superman, and literally they ruined it by having a 3-hour Superman movie where literally almost nothing happens.
Bringing this back to video games, it's something we're probably going to talk about later. You should be able to critique things that you love.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Yep. Indeed. All right, let's move on to this next question because we got a couple more to get through. Hollywood Bones says, so Resident Evil Infinite Darkness just dropped on Netflix. It's a 4-part CG series at about 25 to 30 minutes an episode. I really liked it. I'm glad because we had a nice conversation about CG and live action versus comic books.
Yeah, I saw that and I was so weird. It was such a weird conversation.
It's a great conversation. He says, would you like to see or want to see any other video games get this type of treatment?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I would love to see Destiny for one. And then also maybe Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs.
I actually was about to bring up the Assassin's Creed series that they're doing. I'm sure it's going to be CG now. They're doing a Far Cry series as well, so probably that might be animation as well. But a show that I would love, Uncharted. Do it in this style.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff you could do like this. I'd be all in on the God of War series. Young Kratos.
Yeah.
Like kind of watching his ascent to how he becomes the God of War and stuff like that, and kind of do it like maybe like even do it like Castlevania style, and that art style of Castlevania, not necessarily 3D CGI, but like, hey, just that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I would take some World of Warcraft, like some of the novels that they have. There's so much story there. Halo, like being able to follow some of the stories. 'Cause they have books also, like a lot of games that have like novelizations of different stories going on in the world. I would love to see little CG episodes of that stuff.
Yeah.
Overwatch. I mean, come on.
Fortnite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised Fortnite hasn't done this yet. Honestly,
Yeah, Fortnite makes a lot of sense, especially if you got all
Mhm.
those IPs together and they're doing a comic book series off of the season. I guess it's this season now, 0 Point.
0 Point was last season. This is Aliens.
That's what it is now?
Yeah, because this is the season that they finally brought Superman to Fortnite.
Okay.
Which, by the way, you can't unlock Superman until next month. Literally, like he's part of the battle pass, but he can't be unlocked until next month.
I think that makes sense based off of
Yeah.
the comic series that I'm reading.
Yeah. But you could definitely do this with so many different games that could use a little CG for a part series just to explain some story or just expand the universe. Yeah, I would love to see more of this.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, next question comes from at TRP over on the Discord. He says, if you could live in a Sony protagonist's shoes for 24 hours in their game or franchise of choice, who would it be and why? And he says, anyone from the PS1 launch to now is fair game.
Aloy. Because who doesn't want to be a badass with robot dinosaurs? So
I don't want to live in that world.
That world sounds horrifying.
Yeah, I'm good. Quite honestly, maybe I'd be Cole from Infamous before he dies.
he's not dead. Fuck you.
His powers are cool, and you know that might could be fun. The world isn't completely destroyed, so you know
Also
that could be
useful.
nice.
His powers are useful because electricity is in everything. So
Yeah,
Oh, this is a hard question because most of these worlds sound horrifying.
exactly. That was my thought. I was like,
why would I want to
"Ugh,
go there?
don't want to go to The Last of Us. That is not a good time at all. I don't know.
Didn't turn out too good for Joe.
Yeah, nope.
I don't
wow. Okay.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe
How about the golf club?
maybe Nathan Drake, I guess, because Nathan Drake, the whole point of his character is he's so lucky he can't die.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
they even said that when you see him taking damage, he's not really taking damage. It's just letting you know that the bullets are whizzing you really close and you probably should get out of the way.
It's his luck running out as the screen gets grayer and grayer. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
he probably would be the safest. Plus, he's been with beautiful women
That
on multiple occasions.
my
Stupid.
my favorite thing about the fact that it shows his luck running out is that technically makes Nathan Drake a metahuman with
I was
luck
gonna say
manipulation. He's literally a
he's
metahuman.
superhero.
Literally
He's Domino.
with
Yeah.
luck manipulation. Like literally, like that makes him a metahuman, which interesting. All right.
I believe it. You see his wife and you see his former girlfriend. Yeah, that dude's lucky.
I like how this is your takeaway and not the fact that they inadvertently made Nathan Drake a metahuman.
Yes, because that plays into his luck.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
He's out there having crazy adventures, being with beautiful women. His best friend's cool, smokes cigars every day, and still hasn't died yet from that. I don't know how that's possible.
Probably Nathan Drake's luck rubbed off on him too.
Yeah. Sully smokes cigars every 5 minutes, and yet he's still alive.
Sully does a lot of stuff in that game that's like, how are you not dead 5 minutes into the first game?
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good one. That's a good question. All right, our last question comes from TJ Silas. He says, would you rather have fresh breath or always have fresh breath or wake up every morning at 6 a.m. but be completely rested?
This is an interesting question. So the question is, would you rather have fresh breath every morning you wake up? Don't have to brush your teeth or nothing like that. Just always have fresh breath. Or every morning you wake up and you feel refreshed no matter what. As long as you take a nap, you
Always at 6 a.m.
I'm
Yes.
going to take the always refreshed because I never feel refreshed.
Not gonna lie, that always refresh might win it for me. I can brush my teeth in
Yeah, I
the
was gonna say
morning.
I'm taking the always refresh because I can brush my teeth.
Yeah, I'll be just waking up in the morning every day, just feeling refreshed, ready to get into the day. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
and
almost a superpower.
especially if I could decide to go to bed at 5:45, get a 15-minute power nap, and feel like I took 8 hours of sleep. That
Yeah,
sounds fantastic. Get so much done.
yeah. I
All
think
right.
that one works.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into our news finally. We've come this far. Let's go. All right, so Haley, I'm actually gonna postpone your story to
Yeah,
the
I know.
end to
That's
just
that's
tie it
that's
all
fine.
the way in
I figured.
to our
Oh,
topic of the week, which is gonna be the state of play. So let's start with your story, Delvin. What you got for us?
well, this is not a big story because it was. I want to say it was in the trailer. That
Uh, Also, it was already known, but yeah.
yeah, is Deathloop is a PS5 exclusive till at least September 2022. I think
Yep.
that's interesting. I think that's cool. I'm curious if PlayStation could extend that. Would they be able to extend that? Or is it a thing where once that 2022 comes up, it's going to go on Xbox? I think
Yeah,
that'd be fascinating.
it's a good question. I mean,
That's
we
why I
know it's
came. That's
coming
why
to
I brought it up.
PC.
Honestly,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know it's coming to PC for sure. I'm imagining because of the fact that it's a Bethesda game, it's gonna have to come. It's gonna come to Xbox. Like I just wonder, will it come like right as the time the exclusive period like is over with? Is there gonna be more development time if they need to actually get it working on Xbox? Are they doing that now? Is there gonna be some kind of DLC? Who knows? But I'm pretty positive that it'll be on Xbox sometime next fall.
let me ask
Uh,
this question about that because they've said that Bethesda still can run studio how they seem fit. If Sony comes at Bethesda with a bag of money, be like, "Hey, can we have this for 6 more months?" Could that feasibly work?
I'm gonna go with no because here's the thing. We know it's going on PC. I'm pretty sure it's day and date, right, for PC.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, the real question is whether or not it goes on PC Game Pass day and date, and if it's
No, it doesn't. It's Epic Game Store exclusive.
Okay.
okay. So then here's the thing. As soon as that 1 year exclusivity is up, boom, Game Pass. That's it. That's all. That's right where it's going. And I guarantee you they would not accept a bag of money. I don't think Microsoft would let them, but I also
That was my question. Would Microsoft be like, "Okay, y'all can take it. That's fine."
no, I don't think so. At this point, I'm sure Xbox isn't exactly pleased that they have to publish a game on PlayStation.
I don't know if they care.
I don't think they care either. As long as it comes into Game Pass, I don't think they care where the games go.
Yeah, I don't think they care.
I don't know.
'Cause
Again, I would rather everyone be able to play everyone. I'm just,
I agree. I understand that.
you're asking a question here that I think the answer is pretty much no. Once that 1 year exclusivity is up, that's it. The real question is, how long will Ghostwire be exclusive? Because we haven't seen Ghostwire since it was announced.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that game as well. I literally
I
went to the
imagine-
PlayStation store the other day looking
There
at the
are
trailer for it.
rumblings that that game might be canceled. By the way,
I don't think it's gonna get canceled, but I think it'll end up having the same 1 year exclusivity deal whenever it drops, and then it'll launch in a Game Pass whenever it's ready. Same with
Fascinating looking
Deathloop.
game.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
have either you looked at the trailer on the PS in store for
what
that game?
For Ghostwire?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. It's intriguing, but there's nothing really to go on. The trailer doesn't really do anything except show what kind of game it's going to be.
Yeah. I think they show a little bit of gameplay in that trailer, but it just
Yeah,
looks super weird.
but
Like
it's-
first person,
Yeah,
psionic powers.
Mm-hmm.
Super weird.
Definitely super weird, super interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. Don't know if it's necessarily a game for me or something that I pick up, but I'm definitely intrigued.
I am too.
Yeah. So our next story, also not a huge story, it's a smaller one, but Ratchet and Clank got an interesting boost to its fidelity mode. So if you have a 120 hertz display, you can actually run the fidelity mode in 40 frames instead of 30 frames, which gives it a little bit more smoothness. So you're getting the 4K ray tracing, all of that good stuff, instead of at 30 frames at 40 frames per second, which
Huh.
seems like an odd number, but it's just the way that you have to have the frames when you have the display. It's a weird number, but it works. I just think it's really interesting that they were able to eke even more performance out of the PlayStation at the fidelity mode to where you're able to get 4K 60 with ray tracing, but only on a 120 hertz display. Like that's kind of crazy that they were able to like, okay, we can't give you a 120 hertz mode, but we can boost the fidelity. Like I'm
Yeah,
wondering how much more we're going to be able to see out of Insomniac. They keep finding ways to be just wizards with the PlayStation.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really weird.
Um, that made me want to go just boot it up just to look inside the game, see how it looks.
Yeah, same here. I'm really intrigued. I'll probably end up playing it a little bit later today just to flip between like the performance ray tracing mode and then the fidelity mode just to see how different it is because you're only looking at 20 frames, but still having all the fidelity features, which is just
I
crazy to me.
I uninstalled Wretched after I platinumed it. So
It's still on my PS5. I was gonna move it to my expansion drive, but I just said, let me just hold on here for a little bit because I don't have enough space to download Plague's Tale. So I gotta move some stuff on my
Mm.
PS5 to go download that. But yeah, I didn't want to take Ratchet off just
But
yet.
Plague Tale is actually surprisingly small. It's only 30 gigs.
Yeah, I don't have 30 gigs. I have like 28 gigs or something like that left because I have Avengers takes up like 85 gigs by itself.
I deleted
Uh,
that.
I'm still playing that one.
I deleted Avengers a while ago. I opened the PS5 upgrade, popped all the trophies I had, and then just uninstalled it when. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even think Black Panther's gonna draw me in. Now you bring Daisy Johnson, maybe, but I don't think the real problem with Avengers for me is that like the the enemy variation just isn't enough for me. I'm sorry, it's just not.
I get it.
I'm tired of fighting robots in Avengers.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Ratchet and Clank is still on mine. I'm definitely gonna check this out because I just think it's really cool that they were able to eke more performance out of this system somehow.
You play on a monitor, right?
Yes,
Does your monitor have a 120 hertz?
yes, that is why I bought it.
Okay, cool.
It does have HDMI 2.1, HDR 600, and does 144 hertz. So very, very curious. Like playing games, like for example, Destiny and the Crucible, it does a 120 hertz, and it's really smooth. Oh my god, it's glorious. So I'll be very curious to see how well this 4K 40 fidelity
I
mode
uh,
plays.
I still have a TV that's just the HDR, which isn't even that good of HDR, so can't wait to get that new TV that I want.
Yeah,
And 60 frames, which I probably wouldn't use 120 frames that much, but
there's not a whole lot of games that actually take advantage of it. To be
yeah,
perfectly honest,
I just
Yeah.
it's
so
mostly racing games.
here's the thing, right? I just want a TV where I can tell that it's not simulating HDR because this TV is simulating HDR and not actually using HDR, and I can tell because let me put it this way. I miss my old LG model that I had because it actually did HDR. This TV doesn't really do HDR.
Yeah.
It
HDR is interesting because
it
a lot of times it also depends on how well the games do HDR,
yeah.
and some of them just do a really bad job.
Like
Yep.
here's my favorite thing. I have HDR turned off in Red Dead because it does not do HDR properly, but also it's just made worse by the fact that this TV doesn't really do HDR, it just makes the picture lighter, which is not how HDR is supposed to work.
Uh, what I really want, which is not going to happen, is for them to actually get Dolby Vision at some point on PlayStation. It probably
Yeah.
won't happen, but that would be nice.
It would be nice if more TVs started supporting it though too.
There's a lot of TVs that support Dolby Vision now. It's just you got to buy newer TVs. Like my TV supports Dolby Vision, and it's like 5 or 6 years old and does both. Like you had to get Visi back in the day. There were only two brands that did Dolby Vision and HDR, and Vizio was one of those brands. I think it was Vizio, not LG. Maybe it was LG, but two
So,
brands did both.
remember how I said I want the CX? I don't know that I can afford the CX here. You want to take a guess how much the CX costs here? For a
Two
50
grand.
for a 55-inch model, I might add. Not even like a bigger model because I don't really have room for like a 65 or a 75-inch model. But for
2,500.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because I think
For
that
a,
one is 1,500 out here in the states.
well, so the 55-inch model is actually 1999. So like 1999. So like 2 grand.
Yeah,
But then you've got to add taxes and the environmental fee, which would bring it up to like 2,500.
What the hell is the environmental fee?
You have to when you buy electronics in Canada, you have to pay the environmental fee.
yeah, we have a recycling fee, and I think it varies from state to state. It's like California, depending on the size of the screen, it's usually between like $8 and like $12.
So here's the
Um,
thing. It depends on the amount of your purchase in Canada. So for an environmental fee for my laptop that I have, which I have like currently still renting to own, but would like to pay off, right? The environmental fee would be about $65.
Jesus Christ.
Bunch of
Yeah,
clowns
so
in Canada.
yeah, for us, like I said, it varies from state to state in the U.S. So ours is just a California recycling fee, and you get that back if you actually go recycle your TV.
Florida
It's
don't
just the
play that.
California
We don't
electronic
get none
waste
of that.
fee.
Also,
I'm not surprised.
I like how this podcast turned into you and me discussing game tech things and Delvin just looking confused the entire
It's what
That'll work.
happens. That's what happens. So, time to get into this topic of the show. So, we all know we had a state of play this past week. And we had a question on it. So, I'm going to go ahead and read that, and then we'll jump into your news story, Haley, and then we'll jump a little bit more deeper
Yeah, no
into
worries.
the state of play. So, TPR says, "Well, I don't think this state of play was necessarily bad. It wasn't that E3 level presentation we were hoping for before Sony's PS blog post. Do you think there's another state of play on the horizon? No pun intended. This summer that has the God of Wars, Forbidden West, and other currently unannounced first party titles, or will we learn about them piecemeal like the Forbidden West gameplay presentation?"
Uh, so current rumblings have an August event, which internet's gonna internet. People are speculating that that'll be the PSX style event. I don't know. Here's the thing: we're definitely hearing whether or not Horizon is coming this year, and I think we're hearing that before the end of the summer. Um, the problem being is whether or not they go by actual summer dates or by quarter dates. Because if they're going by actual summer days, they have till the end of September. However, if they plan to release the game this year, they have till the end of August because you gotta do marketing for your game coming out. Especially since it's still coming on PS4 as well. But
Yeah.
do I think another event's coming? Yes. Will it be this summer? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we've had what, two state of plays this year, or has it been
Yeah,
three?
two.
Two.
Two of the state of plays like this, and then of course the Horizon specific state of play and the Ratchet state of play. Like if we're talking these type of state of plays, only two. But then like game specific state of plays, we've also had two. We've had Ratchet.
I'm just talking about state of plays, period. Because
Oh
whether or not they're game specific or not, I feel like it's just the state of play. Like I just look at it like that. Like I know we had one in February, then we had the one for Horizon Forbidden West, and now we have this. So it's been three, I'm assuming, this year.
no, we had another one for Ratchet in April, didn't we?
Oh, that's right. So yeah, I think that we'll probably get another one. Um, it might have God of War, it might not. I have no idea. It's so hard to tell what Sony's gonna do because yeah, you have all these internet rumblings and people trying to dissect stuff, but they really just do what the hell they want. It's hard to say. Thoughts, Delvin? Anything?
This is just I'm trying to be as nice as I want to, as nice as I can be about this. But this isn't what we want. Like, I'm not just being mean about this and being callous, but fuck it. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
There we go.
We just had E3. Everybody, Microsoft kicked in the door with everything it was showing. And this is something that's been a constant theme this year, and I want to say since the whole PS5 Series X thing has been put out there. Microsoft has consistently been talking to people, even with their games. Hey, it's coming in 2023, 2024. Even with them having no content that we want to sit there and say that's out, because people always make that kind of, Microsoft's not putting out no games right now. They have been constantly hitting PlayStation, quote unquote, because not really PlayStation, they're just hitting us with news over and over again, talking to their fans, getting their base riled up and hyped up for what's coming up. It's including E3. E3, they showed us a whole bunch of stuff that Microsoft fans can be excited for. Then they have the All for One commercial, which was brilliant. They've been doing all this stuff, and it's not like they just do it once in a while. They've been doing it all year. Last year, they've been just doing it, like getting that Game Pass and that Xbox name out there. And PlayStation has literally been doing the opposite of that. Why put this state of play out there when you know everybody is, even if you say, okay, this is what this is going to be, you know everybody is expecting E3 type stuff because we just got off of E3. This is still around that same time. I feel like this is the state of play that could have happened after you showed us the E3 stuff. Some of this stuff could have been included into that E3 stuff in general because, like, we still haven't seen Kina. You can show that. Even if Forbidden West isn't coming out this year, you can still show Kina. You can show Lost Judgment if you know it's coming out. You can show.
They did show Lost Judgment at the state of play, though.
No, but I'm saying in one big state of play that's kind of like an E3 quality one. There, you could put that out there. But the problem with PlayStation is they're kind of moving to the beat of their own drum. And as a PlayStation fan, you want something to root for. And yeah, this is cool, but this is not what we want right now. We want to get the feeling of like, hey, this is what's coming. Because you're still saying Forbidden West is coming this year. We know Kina is supposed to be coming this year. Those are two big games.
Kina has a date. We're not
Kina
seeing
has a date.
We're not seeing any more. We're not seeing any.
Some stuff like they showed. Sony didn't, but Kina was front and center in like the Summer Game Fest. Like they had a whole.
But that's my point. Sony's not doing it.
But that's because the game's not a PlayStation exclusive. It's coming to PC as well. And Kina was at Tribeca Game Festival, which is why it was not shown in this game, in this state of play. I'm assuming because Tribeca Game Festival was like a week, 2 weeks ago at best.
Yeah. And I gotta push back on it not being a PlayStation exclusive because Deathloop is got the same deal that.
But that's my point. Does. They have these games, even the Death Stranding thing, the Ghost of Tsushima thing, all that stuff could make a great E3 state of play.
I wonder if they're just like so worried about leaks and things getting out that they're just like we're kind of gonna just sit back and kind of do our little thing here and there because everything that they do is like under a microscope and leaked out so much that it's hard to ever hold anything back. So I'm wondering if that's part of why they do this the way they do it.
I don't know. It's weird for sure. It's also, I mean, one of the most prominent leakers just closed their account for fear of being found out. So at least, like, I'm assuming they've got people on trying to figure out who's leaking what. So.
It's baffling to me that they don't hype their games up as much as they should, and they have the blockbuster hit games. They have the games that people want to play, and people want to cheer and root for PlayStation. We want to see them at E3. Fans have been saying it. It doesn't necessarily have to be at E3, but around that time when you make an announcement like, "Hey, we're gonna do a state of play around this E3 time," even if you say what it's going to be, people are expecting that E3 quality type thing because we just got through seeing every other company do that. And yeah, I get you want to march to the beat of your own drum, but You got to kind of
They're
PlayStation
the
fans a little bit.
no, they're the market leader. They don't care.
But
They'll
that's the
do what
I
they
problem.
wonder.
want.
I wonder if it's just like a cost thing. Like, do they just not have the budget to put into the marketing in the way that Xbox can do? Like, Sony ain't hiring All For One and having them sing for that. Like, I just wonder if it's just a cost thing, and if they see that they're getting the same return on investment from doing smaller state of plays like this. Because again, Sony games, they don't need a whole lot. They kind of sell themselves, because with Sony games, a lot of times you're getting a quality game.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if it's just like a return on investment thing where they're like, we don't need to go balls to the wall all out with this ridiculous massive marketing campaign when we're getting the same return on that investment that we would, or a better return on investment, by doing these smaller state of plays a little bit more focused, and then we're still getting the return. I mean, like a Nintendo does a direct whenever they want, and we know that people go out and buy all the Nintendo stuff. Like, as crazy as it is that the new Switch is just an OLED screen, and a network port in the dot, that thing is going to sell like gangbusters. It's going to sell. And Sony is kind of starting to get to that point where it's like, we don't need to do a whole lot. We can have this little direct, and these games will sell.
But even Nintendo did kind of an E3 thing. Like, here's Metroid Dread. Here's this coming out. Here's this coming out. This is
Yeah.
essentially just like, all right,
This was an update.
What if there's no surprises? Like, what if we know? Like, that's the thing. Everybody's looking for some kind of surprise from Sony. But what if there aren't any? What if what we see is exactly what's coming? What if there's no surprise game coming in the fall? Then there's nothing to show, right?
yeah, didn't say that. I'd rather you be transparent
But
with
that's
that.
the thing. They did say what their state of play was going to be, and they're still getting flack for it. They literally detail. It does not matter. Fans don't care. Sony can go, hey, this is one game. This is a 30-minute showcase on Deathloop, and people would still be disappointed. It does not matter what PlayStation does, because PlayStation is the market leader. They're always going to disappoint someone. Here's the problem. People don't read. I saw people going, well, why wasn't Horizon here? Why wasn't God of War here? And I'm like, they literally came out and said it wasn't going to be here. Like, people don't read. It's the customer service problem all over again.
I don't think that's what Delvin is saying, though. I
No.
think he's saying it's more of like, if you're not having any big surprises or anything coming, let us know that. Let us know that these are the games that are coming this fall, and don't expect anything special. Like, this is our lineup for the fall.
Yeah.
But
you can literally do that 9-minute death loop in a PlayStation blog drop. You don't have to tell us, hey, stay play. Like, hey, just like you did Ghost of Tsushima. Just like you didn't make what you should have made fanfare about, like, hey, we're adding this to this game. People love that game. That game's critically acclaimed.
They did fanfare it, though. It was the blog post was written by Goldfarb.
Yeah. But I also think, like, for example, we did get a surprise. We got the Moss Book 2 surprise.
Which is great. That is great.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people really, really enjoyed Moss. And so now we have a surprise. Like, nobody knew there was a Moss Book 2 coming. So there's a surprise that we got.
My story, while we're talking here, was just about Sifu being delayed, which I don't know why you would put that in a state of play. Like, the trailer was cool, and it showed more of the aging mechanic, but, like, why?
I think it was fine to be here, because it's more people are excited for Sifu.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Sifu.
I think it's good to show it here, and it's also that transparency. It's letting you know, hey, we are still working on this game. It's still something that's being highlighted by PlayStation, and it's delayed. So it's letting you know that we haven't forgot about this game. We haven't forgot about the fans that are excited for it. Let me show you a little something, then also let you know that, hey, we're working hard. We got hit big by the pandemic, and now it's being pushed to 2022. Because they put out a couple of tweets, and I think there was also a blog post about it, letting them know that, like, we didn't want to crunch.
Well, yeah, and
we didn't want to sacrifice quality.
My story about the delay is from PlayStation blog. So
yeah. So as saddened as I am by that delay, I'm glad to know and not just be sitting here in the wind waiting for Sifu and a date, and it never happened.
And so, like, to Delvin's point of, like, well, maybe and yours of, like, well, maybe there's nothing big coming this year. We still don't know that. They've literally said, like, you're gonna find we're aiming for holiday release with Horizon. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
And they literally, in the blog post announcing this state of play, said you'll hear very soon. about Horizon, and I'm assuming the way it was worded, God of War, which we know God of War's not coming this year. We know Gran Turismo's not coming this year, but they've said we're going to hear very soon about Horizon. So I don't know. Here's the thing, though. Besides last year with Miles Morales and sort of the year before that, or 2018 with Spider-Man in September, I believe it was that it came out.
Something like that, yeah.
PlayStation's never really had a big fall game, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But it'd just be nice to know. That's the other thing, yeah. They don't really do fall releases. Like they do like August, September, October, and then nothing really until the spring. But
I don't know.
so let's jump into what was actually revealed at the State of Play. So first, like I said, we got Moss Book 2, which I know a lot of people are excited about. I don't have VR, so I didn't play it, but I'm sure my kids would love it. I
don't
know
have
Kyle
VR.
was very happy about it.
I don't have VR either, but I was watching the Easy Allies react to this, as well as I also watched Ray Narvaez Jr. stream it live, and then I went back and watched the Allies video. And he made a very good point. I don't understand why Moss has to be a VR game. I mean, it's cool, glad to see them still supporting VR, despite, my advocacy of wanting it to die. But I would love to play Moss. I don't have VR. I can't handle VR, so I don't get to play a game that looks interesting. So,
I mean, it's in VR because that's probably the developer and what they want to do. Like that's just their vision for the game. That's my
Great
guess.
game, honestly. It's a really great game. The original was fantastic. I like that it was in this State of Play because it shows like, hey, we're still focusing on VR. We still have cool stuff that you don't even know about coming to VR. So that's great. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah. Next up, they showed Arcadegeddon, which honestly I was intrigued. It looked really cool. That one is early access right now. It's $20. It looked like a Fortnite style game that kind of just has a lot more than just a battle royale. It looked pretty cool. What you guys think about it?
So when I first saw it, I was like, "Isn't this Knockout City?" The way that the combat with the bat there worked, but then it's neon and interesting looking. $20 for early access isn't too bad. I think it said it's launching 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Looks fun. I'm just not gonna play an early access game.
Yeah, it looked pretty feature complete to be early access. I'm tempted. I'm really tempted because it just looks like it'll be a fun time. But we'll see. What'd you think about that one, Delvin?
I like that PlayStation's getting in the realm of having early access games on it. With that being said, you know how I feel about multiplayer. Like it looks cool. You can play by yourself, but God knows why would you play by yourself this game? This game feels like a multiplayer game, so I won't be playing that. Looks cool though.
Man, get your son. Go play some Arcadegeddon. Quit being a chump.
I think Delvin Jr. is a little busy with Final Fantasy VII, so
Now he's playing Fortnite a lot.
I know.
Millions of dollars he's wasted in that game.
Hey,
Jesus.
He could have bought a house.
Hey. Could be worse. Could be spending his money on drugs, but no, he's spending it on video games. So,
Well, if he spent it on drugs, he could at least share that with me.
I'm saying, share the wealth. We could be high together.
High as a kite.
So next up was Tribes of Midgard. Yeah, it looked like Diablo. I've never paid really much attention to this.
So
it looked like a Diablo type game.
This was a trailer detailing its post-launch content because it's not out on PlayStation yet, but it is out on Steam currently.
That's where I saw this at.
It's coming the 27th.
Yes. Coincidentally, the same day that Part 2 of Batman: The Long Halloween comes out. So,
can't wait.
You guys, either one of you interested in Tribes at all?
No,
not really.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's cool.
I like Diablo 3, but I'll wait till something else that piques my interest in that style of gameplay comes out.
Like Diablo 4?
Yes.
No, I have a problem with Blizzard now. I can't play. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I do have a way I do have a problem with the way Blizzard kind of like, you know, has like, not to get political, but like literally has committed like committed human rights abuses sort of towards, streamers who wanted, to respect I think it's Taiwan as a country.
I'm just
Oh,
And
trying to
that
then
back in the
find out what
day.
this is
Yeah.
about.
yeah.
My only
So
thing with that kind of stuff is that a lot of times the developers, the people who actually are working on the game, don't really have anything to do with how the company
I
reacts.
know.
So
I
like a
know.
lot of times it's hard for me to be like, I'm not gonna play this game when I know that the people who worked on it don't necessarily share the views of the company.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard window. I'm sure I'll play Diablo 4 or something. I don't know. It's
If it
frustrating.
ever comes out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Diablo 2 is supposed to come out later this year, but
That actually looks really
I don't
cool.
know if that's gonna hit it or not. So
Yeah. Next up, they showed Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. This game is like my game of the show. I
so what?
really like this one.
While I was watching Ray stream, as soon as the attractive, I think it's a rabbit lady showed
Hmm.
up, he literally just went, "Well, I guess it's that time. I'm horny," and just kept.
Oh boy.
Which is, I'm sorry, an absolutely hilarious comment to make.
Well, Dev, what's the next game on this list? I don't even know how to respond to that.
No,
I don't either.
so for reference, the Radar Vance Jr. is one of my favorite streamers. This man loves to do like the worst political, not political, the worst comedic timing ever, and literally did that on purpose.
But yeah, Forest and Shadow Touch. It's a cool little mechanical robot side scroller Metroidvania style thing. It looks like. I'm excited about this one. I want to play it. Looks dope. I love these type of games. So
Yeah.
yeah. Next up, we have Hunter's Arena Legends, which was also announced as the PlayStation Plus game or the PS5 PlayStation Plus game for August. Um, this one I really don't quite understand. It's supposed to be like a 30-player battle arena type game that's like melee related, but then
Yeah,
also you're dealing with like PvE, like so player versus everything, but you can also team up, but you're also fighting PvP. So I don't
it's
really
weird.
understand what this one
And
is.
also, they showed like costume customization and turned one of the
Mm,
characters into like a rubber duck.
yeah, you can. I guess everything is very customizable on how you can make your characters look, but it's supposed to be like this melee focused like action PvP battle arena game. Um, I'm intrigued by it. I'm curious as to see what it actually is going to be, and the fact that it's coming to PlayStation Plus gives me more incentive to actually try it with my friends. I'm sure Delvin won't touch it because it's
It's a
online.
no go
Because
for me, son.
you and
Yeah,
this
I'm not sure
lack
that
of
I would.
playing
No,
online.
I'm not sure that I would play this either, and I actually do play online. So
Nope.
I feel like it's worth a try. Why not? Let's see what it is. I've been on like melee games lately. Like I said, I want to just play more Ghosts. So if I could parry and attack people, that's kind of what I want to play right now. I just want to parry and slice people up. So I want to see what this game is. If it has a little bit more depth to it. I mean, it looks like it's kind of RPG focused with all the customization and it's building out like um move sets and stuff like that. So could be interesting, or it could fall completely flat like Destruction All Stars did. We'll see. After that, we had Sifu, which we've already announced has been delayed to 2022. But god dang it, this game doesn't look awesome.
early
I'm ready to
2022 as well.
kick some ass in this one.
Yeah. Looks great. They detailed more of the aging mechanic. I think in the blog post they said that it's not unlimited. Like you can't be 140 and kicking ass. Like if you age too much, you have to start over.
Yeah. I definitely am really intrigued by this one. Just One of the games that Slowcap did called Absolver was something that I was really, really into. It was a really cool game. It was melee focused, a lot of kung fu, changing
I
up stances, stuff like that. So I'm
I played
intrigued. I
Absolver
want to
for
play
a
this.
bit, but I wasn't into it. But this looks good.
Yeah, this is like feels like the evolution of that game into a single player type game because Absolver was multiplayer.
Yes.
But man, just the movements and everything, the way they do the kung fu is really really awesome. I'm excited.
Delvin, any words?
Looks cool. I can't wait to play it. It looks great. Looks like it looked the last time I saw it. It looks awesome.
It's
Can't wait to
offline,
try
so
it.
he'll play it.
It's not much you can say about it. It looks great. It's like, all right, I can't wait till this comes out.
So Jet the Far Shore was next up, and this was one that I feel like we saw a while back.
Yeah.
Like I thought this was like during like the launch of the PS5. I believe they showed this game as like one of the indie games coming to it.
Yep.
Either one of you plan on checking it out? Was it something that
No.
interested you when you first saw it?
No.
Not really. It looks okay.
Like I'm more interested in checking out Solar Ash than I am Jet the Far Shore.
Yeah. This looks like something just super relaxing and something to chill. Put on a rainy afternoon and just kind of go play some Jet the Far Shore.
See, my problem with like super relaxing games is that I just tend to fall asleep while playing them.
Like Assassin's Creed 3? Yeah, absolutely.
I would not call that a relaxing game, but all right, a relaxing game.
I fell asleep playing that one.
That's a good joke, though. A relaxing journey through the American Civil War. No,
Yes.
sorry, American Revolutionary War. There you go.
The most relaxing time in our American history.
Also, that Assassin's Creed game screwed around with the UI so much it just became a frustrating bore. Like,
I don't even remember that.
so they changed the UI so much because they had to like allow dual-handed weapons. Because before that, you could swords were the only weapon that can be dual wielded. But then in Assassin's Creed 3, you could have a tomahawk in one hand and a sword in the other, and yada yada yada. And they had to literally change the entire UI to revolve around it, and it broke the UI. Like it was bad. And they didn't fix it in the remaster, I might add. So that was fun.
Awesome. So this next game, I feel like is a Delvin game.
I talked about this game last week.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
I can't even pronounce that, but this thing actually looks really cool.
It does.
Yeah. Anime is
As
really
soon
good.
as I saw that pig face boy, I was like, oh, I think I know what this is. This is Delvin stuff.
Yeah, that's the anime I'm watching right now. Haven't got to Pig Face Boy yet, but so far, this anime is really good.
Delvin, if you're looking for a new anime to watch, I highly recommend Hellsing Ultimate.
I'll probably check that one out next.
It's 10 episodes.
I think Dev is angry at me because I've told him I'm watching My Hero Academia now in dub version because I am not watching those subs at all. But yeah, Demon Slayer is fantastic so far. I like it. I can't wait to play this game. My friend who works at GameStop immediately pre-ordered it for me and said, you need to watch this anime. This is because he did that like weeks ago. And as soon as he did that, I'm like, okay, start watching. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to play this game now. It's made by CyberConnect, so I'm all in.
I need to check out Demon Slayer because I've only heard good things, and it looks like awesomeness. And I like the way this game looks. This game
It looks good, yeah.
I think you'd like Demon Slayer now I think about it, Dev. You'd probably like that.
I probably would. But I
Little
also
boy.
watched it subbed because that's the only way you're supposed to watch anime. All right. Look, man, you got to stimulate your brain and read. All right.
Nah.
Listen to the Japanese the way it's supposed to sound and read.
I literally became completely confused watching My Hero Academia. Like, is that guy a bad guy now? Like,
See,
oh no, that was dub. Like, okay, no.
So here's a fun story about whether or not you should be watching dub or sub. Which again, personal choice. Honestly, like there's no right or wrong way to watch it, no matter what people tell you. Way. But I think my favorite thing about sub or dub discourse, and this isn't really an anime, it's more of a children's cartoon, but like Yu-Gi-Oh is a perfect example of how a sub versus a dub can completely change something. So for anyone familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, you know what the Shadow Realm is, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that had to be invented for the dubbed version because in the Japanese subbed version, they were just straight up killing people?
I did not know that.
I
That's the
mean,
difference between sub and dub is that you're hearing like what the actual like Japanese audience is intended for, or you're watching the dub and watching people get sent to a realm that's completely made up for only the dubbed version.
man, give me that Japanese version then. Screw this
Yeah,
Shadow Realm
that
nonsense.
changes the whole.
Yu-Gi-Oh just got way cooler.
Yeah, that changed the whole perspective of the show. I didn't know that was a thing.
Shadow Realm. Get out of here with that
So
nonsense.
like
Nah, man. Murder, death, kill. You're gone.
so like obvious things aside, like the Yugi's grandfather thing actually survives because Millennium Eye, and whatnot. But like other things like the Shadow Realm for just random people, no, that doesn't exist. They were just straight up murdering people, which makes it all the more cooler when Kaiba puts his card in a gun stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool. I didn't
I've
realize that
never
was a
seen an
thing.
episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Delvin knows what
All I
I'm talking
know
about.
is
It's a
Blue Eyes
meme.
White Dragon. That's all I know.
It's literally a meme. Like it's one of the most common Yu-Gi-Oh memes that people will put is Kaiba throwing a card in the stop, like the trigger at the back of a pistol, like that.
Never seen that.
Seto
Much
Kaiba.
like you've never seen Undertaker rise from the grave.
That's a good point. That's a solid point.
That's fair.
Next up, we have Lost Judgment. I feel like this is also a delving game.
Very much so.
You can walk a Shiba in this game, and that's all that matters.
Judgment is fantastic. It's a darker version of the Yakuza games. So if you like the Yakuza games, it's
Also,
So is this a sequel or a prequel?
so
sequel.
it takes it. It's yes, it's a sequel to Judgment, but also Judgment takes place in the Yakuza universe, but it's a separate thing.
yes.
And also for anyone who unfamiliar, the old style of Yakuza game from before Like a Dragon will now take place only in the Judgment series, and the remaining like any Yakuza game going forward will now do what Like a Dragon did. So
Yes. Judgment is really good. I highly recommend it, especially if you want a Yakuza game that is a little darker and not as silly as the regular Yakuza series can be at times, but it also adds a little bit more play elements into it, like there's a detective mode where you have to solve certain things, and it's a really cool game. I highly recommend Judgment.
I think my favorite
What's the combat like?
It's really good, like Yakuza, maybe a little bit more tighter than the Yakuza games are, which is fine, but it's really good. Really, really good.
I think my favorite Yakuza thing I've seen is the car racing track GIF. I don't remember which Yakuza that's in, mostly because I've never actually played a Yakuza game. I've just enjoyed watching people play them. The car racetrack thing when the car goes flying and I forget what the character's name. I think it's Kiryu.
Yes.
Just looks so disappointed when the car goes flying.
Yeah, that's Yakuza in a nutshell.
Yeah, I may check this out. It looks interesting. I may check out the first Judgment and then maybe this. It looks interesting, and something a little bit darker is always more up my alley than the goofiness that is Like a Dragon.
Yeah,
that was
you're
fun to watch
literally
Garrett
hunting down
Bland
a
play,
serial
but I
killer
couldn't play it.
in this game. That's the plot. You're hunting down a serial killer.
Okay, all right. It's got my interest. Next up was the Death Stranding Director's Cut.
Another Delvin game.
By the way, that robot running with the packages, incredible. also, like the straight up rocket to launch your packages, incredible. The race car circuit thing, incredible. You've turned Death Stranding into Yakuza.
This feels like a game they made to fix everything that people complain about Death Stranding with. That's literally what this feels like. Hey, you don't like carrying packages? Here's this robot to carry your packages for you.
Here's your buddy bot.
Also, here's your straight up like gun. So, all right, cool. Maybe I'll play this game now because I heard the combat was awful. But now here's just a straight up SMG.
Yeah, the problem with the combat is you don't get to shoot the gun and fight the things that's in the game till like almost halfway in the game.
Yeah, I'm assuming this changes that because it's a huge complaint. So
yeah, so that's a big difference. Like, and once you get the gun, it doesn't necessarily make it easier, but it makes combat a lot more fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking this out. I mean,
Also,
$10 to upgrade, and you get like the full version.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
And for the $10 upgrade, it doesn't matter what version of PS4 version of Death Stranding you have. When you buy that $10 upgrade, it's the digital deluxe edition of the director's cut. So
I like it.
Thought that
I
was
like Death
really
Stranding.
nice. I'll have to put a disc in my PlayStation again, but
I love that one of the things they emphasized in the trailer was jump ramps. Just jump ramps.
Death Stranding was fun. It's really good. Highly slept on. I like it a lot.
You gonna pick up the director's cut?
Oh yeah.
You gonna replay it? The whole thing?
Yeah, I replayed those story elements to it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to replay the whole thing. Your save will transfer over. So
go for that platinum, Delvin.
It's possible. I want to say I was more than halfway there in the original version.
Is this the beginning of Delvin becoming a trophy hunter?
Not at all.
No.
That's 2 games. That's 2 games now. You said you want to literally platinum.
He just wanted to play a Batman game and then saw how close he was. It was like,
I'm really close.
Also, I have now, because Delvin has put it in the PSXP, like our group chat for podcast prep, has put in the Undertaker in a coffin. I put the Kaiba doing the card with the gun thing there. So you are now able to see that when you go.
Yeah. The Undertaker gif is way better. This one is not so great. So last but not least, they closed out the show with 9 minutes of Deathloop gameplay.
Which feels like the rest of the Deathloop gameplay we've seen. And here's my favorite thing about Deathloop. I was in from the announcement because it's Arcane. And I love Dishonored. But also, if we're going to show a new trailer for Deathloop, can we show a new level, please? We've seen this one 4 times now.
Well, I mean, it's all the same level because it's just one island, right? And you don't want to show too much of Black Reef.
I don't know that it's open world, is it?
I'm saying like it's progressive, but it's all just Black Reef's island. Like you're trying to stop the loop, kill all the different, kill all the guys, and get off the island. So
just Dishonored was the same way. It was all Dunwall. So, but
it was multiple places. This is just like one small contained island. Like it's not a bunch of different levels. So
I feel like
it's
they're stuck
like
in
a
a time
Returnal type
paradox.
thing. Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty clear they're stuck in a time.
No, I'm talking about that the people who keep showing us this trailer and they keep showing us the same goddamn stuff over and over again like it's new. Here's 2 seconds of footage.
I feel like you can't show too much of this game. Like I feel like don't show us too much because then you end up showing too much of the game. So I'm fine with it. I liked it what they showed, like more of the stuff like using the iridium, and you're able to keep weapons and keep things from when you die. You wake up with that stuff. So I think that's cool. I wonder if that was like because of how people felt about Returnal not having a save feature and stuff like that. I wonder if that was something they're like, let's add that.
I think they mentioned that in one of our previous trailers. But anyways, I'm going to pose a question to you that was posed on the Easy Allies podcast for this week. Thank you, Patreon, for letting me listen early. Because the podcast hasn't been released to the public yet. But it was posed. Do we think there's anything after you eliminate all 8? Do you think that a whole other section of the game happens after that, or do you think that you kill all 8 targets and that's it?
I don't know. It could be
I have no idea. That was not something I would have even imagined. I imagine once you kill the 8th one, there goes to some end-game sequence.
Yeah, because they just keep showing us the same shit over and over again, like we're stuck in a death loop. That's what they're doing. they're sticking us in their own death loop.
I will say I'm very glad I can turn off the invasion thing because I
think that actually sounds fun.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you're still like, even if you turn off the invasion, it would still be an AI version of Juliana hunting you down. But
okay,
I turning that invasion feature off does not preclude Juliana from hunting you because she's one of the 8 targets. You have to take her out regardless. So the thing is that I just don't, because I love Dishonored, but sometimes the combat doesn't love me. So I'd like to be able to have a fair challenge where at least if I'm dealing with the AI, I know that if I die, it's my own fault and not because some tryhard from Papua New Guinea has taken me out. Okay.
I like the idea of me.
I don't know. I was
getting
trying to think of a faraway place. Papua New Guinea was one.
those Papua New Guinea players. But I like the idea of me getting good at that game, and then as soon as I'm getting ready to kill a target, Dev just comes in and murders me, and I'm pissed off at Dev. I think that's a funny, cool concept for a game, like especially if you can set it where your friends can only do it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if
because I will definitely exact my revenge for being killed off last episode.
if I could set it to friends only, I might keep it on for friends only. But if it's just open invitation, no, just AI only.
Yeah, if you can set it where your friends and you get really close to killing all the targets, and then your friend just comes in like a dick and just murders you, that would be hilarious. I like that aspect of it. That's funny.
That'll be awesome. Hopefully, they do add just a friends only mode. That would be really cool.
I like it.
Yep. So that was a state of play. I mean, we saw some things we hadn't seen. We saw extras on other stuff, and then we got 9 minutes of Deathloop. So,
and also at the end of the state of play, in case anyone was wondering, they said we'll see you real soon. So
yeah. So we know we'll probably get something else. Hopefully Horizon related with some dates, maybe a surprise here or there. But for me, I mean, people weren't super happy with the state of play, but I think when you go in with the expectations of like this is just going to be some indie games and then Deathloop, it wasn't that bad.
Also,
and I think with the surprise of Moss, it made it that much better.
Someone made this point earlier, and I think they were trying to stir up like console war drama, but I'm not. I'm literally just bringing this up. For people who were ragging on Sony for not supporting indies to then go and say this state of play sucked, considering it mostly focused on indies and then went to Deathloop. Wow, y'all really put your foot in your mouth, huh?
I think this indie support was more of the how hard it is to get the
that I understand,
being
but I
pushed to the front and then the cost involved.
No, the devs have a very valid point. Like, keep bringing that up. That needs to be point. But I'm talking about then, like, the standard consumer is going and ragging on Sony for not supporting indies, and then getting mad when the state of play was mostly indies and Deathloop, and that's what PlayStation said the event was going to be exactly. Like, y'all are putting your foot in your mouth because
I don't want to say too much, but on a future episode of Delvin Cox Experience within the next couple of weeks, I interview an indie developer, and we got on that topic, and he doesn't necessarily say Sony in general. He says how hard it is for an indie developer to get his games on any platform. He's not like targeting Sony, but yeah, it's a task, especially if you're not one of these developers that Sony has on here, because these are specific indie developers that he has on there, as opposed to the little guy who's trying to put a game out.
Yeah, and again, like the developers who were coming out and calling Sony out for like how hard it is to market a game indie wise on PlayStation, they have very valid points. Like, keep bringing that up because it's ridiculous. But I'm talking just the standard consumer who doesn't particularly follow gaming news, but is maybe on Twitter and was excited for the state of play and complaining that, like, hey, I want to see some indies from PlayStation, and then saying the state of play was bad because it didn't focus on the indies they were hoping for. Like, I don't know.
I live on a different internet. I didn't see any of that.
I saw lots of it. It's just weird.
I live in a very different internet, clearly, because I didn't see any of that. Or I just didn't pay attention to it.
Maybe.
Showed me Conor McGregor getting his ass whooped again.
I did see that.
Hey. That was funny. There was also Superman trending because Dean Cain decided to open his mouth again. We won't go into why, but my only point that I need to make on that point is that Dean Cain is a moron and nobody should be listening to him. So,
yeah.
Much like Rob Schneider, don't take your medical advice.
Oh my!
Yes.
I saw why Rob Schneider was trending this morning, and I just went, "Foot and mouth disease. What is it with you?"
Rob Schneider is the stapler.
Don't take
oh my god!
Deuce Bigelow.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's people taking medical advice from just like, why would you? Who listens to Rob Schneider for medical advice?
The Rob Schneider, period.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on how terrible Every one of his movies are.
You know what?
Everyone.
You're not wrong. Rob Schneider is definitely something.
Yeah. So on that note, that is going to do it for episode 91 of the PlayStation Experience. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Please feel free to holler at us. Give us a follow over on the Twitters at PlayStation XP. Stop by the blog at psvg.blog or the Discord at psvg.blog/discord and join us in our shenanigans there, where I am very much alive and Delvin has not managed to kill me. Last but not least, we want to invite you to be a part of our Patreon over at patreon.com/PSVG, where if you enjoy our content here, there is a slew of additional content to be had at just $3 a month. And if you sub, maybe we'll get Delvin his episode of DLC. Maybe.
Not happening.
With that in mind, we'd like to give a special thank you to our patrons at the producer level, Mr. Michael Masick, Edwin Callow, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, Ben Moxham, Nick Fallharbor, Paul Calicote, Kyle Heyman, myself, Josh the Bonesaw Barboni, RJ Kern, Horsekill69, Zach Adams, and Joe Wilson. Thank you guys all for joining us in the journey that is PSVG. With that in mind, let the people know where they can find you, Haley.
You can find me over on Twitter at Shepard Zarel. You can find me on your game platform of choice at Haley's Rel. Again, please just send a message letting me know who you are. You can find me on twitch.tv/Haley's Rel. Again, I think I have the schedule laid out, and if that's my actual schedule, I don't know that streaming is going to be possible. So we'll see. And then you can follow me. I showed Delvin this last week after the podcast, but you can follow me on the newly revamped HaleyZarel.tumblr.com, where the new tagline for the blog is Hope Michelson Fan Club. So
Okay.
that's a character from the Vampire Diaries universe, in case you didn't know, Dev.
Did not know at all.
It's also my new icon on Discord. Because
so that's what that is.
She's the tribrid. She's part werewolf, part vampire, and part witch.
How did that happen?
Nonsense.
That's like
Good
a
lord.
Well,
vampire witch werewolf orgy.
You asked how that happened. Her father is an original vampire. Her mother is an alpha werewolf, and her grandmother on her father's side was the original witch. So
it's way too much going on for me.
Yeah.
Where can the people find you at, Delvin?
You can find me on Twitter at Delvin_Cox. Check out the Delvin Cox Experience anywhere you get podcasts. I am also part Alpha Dog, Werewolf, Zombie Slayer, whatever she just said.
Oh, my goodness. And you can find me at Dad Ninja Dev pretty much everywhere. And with that, long live play.
PlayStation